there, my name is Planet Becky. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you all so much for being here. On the last couple of episodes, we built our entranceway, including the car park. I will leave links to those in the description below. And on the very last episode, we built our very first enclosure, which was our greater flamingo enclosure, which I really enjoyed building. Now, on this episode, we are building the Nyala habitat, and this was requested, this animal. I put it out to my Twitch followers on what animal they would like to see next, so we decided on doing the Nyala habitat next. Now, once again, just to recap over, the purpose of this zoo is for me to basically learn how to build a really detailed zoo, how to spend time using the tools and creating really amazing zoos that look incredible. Now, a lot of this I'm still learning how to use these tools. For example, the terrain tools, I really still struggle with them. I'm sure it will get easier as I go, but it is still something that I am struggling with. Now, with this enclosure, I decided to do another dug-in enclosure, so the guests will walk around the outside of it and look down onto the enclosure. Now, along with the other enclosure, I wanted this enclosure to still look natural and still look really beautiful, but I wanted to make this one not use rocks for the outside. I wanted to try and challenge myself in using some sort of, that looked sort of like a barrier, but it wasn't an actual barrier. Now, I still used the null barrier around the outside to make sure that none of the animals could escape, and in future episodes I will be putting this null barrier in last. I still at this point hadn't quite learnt and worked out that I didn't need to put it in so soon, and it did actually turn out to be quite an issue once again, so I apologise for that. I am still really learning, and this was done quite a while ago. I will have to admit that as well. Now, I also apologise for not getting these videos out sooner, as I had originally promised, and that was mainly just because and a lot of my Twitch streamers will know this, I went through a really bad period of anxiety, and I just needed a little bit of time just to kind of heal and to cope with this newfound way of working, especially during the whole lockdown and coronavirus and going back into the office. So I had a lot of anxiety during all of that. So I just wanted to make you guys aware that from next week there will be more videos coming out. I'm hoping to get at least one video out a week to begin with, if not two, because I actually really enjoy making these videos. I really enjoy making the thumbnails, everything like that. If you guys have any feedback on how I can improve on these videos, please do let me know in the comments below, or send me a message on Discord or a DM on Twitter, anything like that. And it really helps me to learn for future episodes what I can improve on. So yes. So on my stream, I tried using lots of different types of the beams for how I wanted it to look, and you can see on the left hand side here just a little bit of how it originally started, and then I decided I didn't really like the wooden beams, but I liked the bamboo ones a lot better. So I'm not going to show you guys a whole video of me placing each and every single one of them, because that would be an incredibly boring video. But yeah, so I just wanted to show you a little bit of how I did this. I tend to place the coloured beams first and then go through and recolour all of them, just because I find it easier to do that. And then I kind of duplicate that to make the idea of like a fence or a barrier. Now, obviously these don't actually act as a barrier because they are not, they are just wooden sticks, but the null barrier was what works for the animals, but they won't be able to pass through the terrain or through the wooden sticks showing the barriers. So that is the reason why I've used those. Now, I still wanted to have that sort of a natural feel, but I also wanted it to still remain some sort of an enclosure. Now, when I went to the zoo not so long ago, I had a look at some of the way that they set out of their enclosures. Now, in the zoo, they had a lot of like chain link fences and everything like that, but actually it wasn't as enclosure-y, I don't know if that's a word, but it wasn't as enclosed as I thought some zoos have been. And the way that I have been building my franchise zoos is I've kind of just been placing, a square down and not really thinking about the design so much. So when I went to the zoo, I kind of looked at how they designed their enclosures, what they put in there, where they put things, because often where they put things is quite important for the animals, but also for the keepers as well, to know where they're going to put the food, where they're going to place water if they need to place water, where the animals are sleeping, things like that. It's all really important. So the main reason that I'm going to be creating this series is to be able to challenge myself and build a really, really detailed zoo. Now, my plan isn't necessarily to fill every section of this zoo. That's not my plan at all. My plan is more to learn how to create simple, natural looking, detailed zoos. And I think that that's going to be really important for me, because it's not something that I'm particularly great at the moment, but it is something that I really want to be. So as I'm going through these zoos and these enclosures, I'm really going to be focusing on how can I improve this? What can I do to make this better? So if anyone has any suggestions, please do let me know in the comments below, and I will try and implement them in the next up and coming videos. Now, I wanted to use throughout this zoo, I'm going to be trying to use a lot of the same materials. So I'll be trying to use a lot of the same roofs and the same walls and the same like bamboo sticks and everything like that. And the reason for that is because I wanted to create a theme throughout. I didn't want to just use random bits throughout the whole of the zoo. I really wanted to create a theme that would represent the whole of the zoo, and I wanted that theme to be representative of the zoo that we're in. So for example, this is Geluk Zoo. It is an African grassland zoo. So I will be using a lot of tools and items that are from Africa. So within this enclosure, I wanted to include a little water area. Nyalas don't necessarily need the water, but I wanted to give that idea of like a watering hole sort of thing, and I wanted to make sure it looked like a really pretty enclosure. So I included like lots of little flowers everywhere and lots of trees. Now, one thing I said in the previous video, and I will say it in every video, is that I'm not too worried about how many plants are in there and if all of a sudden there are too many plants within the enclosure for the animal, because I want the enclosure to look natural. An animal isn't going to be able to go into an area in Africa and decide there are too many animals, there are too many plants here, so I'm just going to get rid of some of them. So I'm going to be kind of ignoring that a little bit. And once again, I want to light up my enclosures so that they look really good both in the daytime and the nighttime. A lot of enclosures are lit up in some sort of a way. So I included that in like their little sleeping areas, because obviously if a keeper has to go in and see the animals at nighttime, they're going to need some sort of light to see where they're going. I also like to just place some of the lights by some trees that I would like to light up certain areas, because I think it looks really, really effective. Another thing that I really want to focus on in this zoo is creating custom furniture and custom areas for things like the education boards, because I tend to often just use the prefabbed one. So I decided on this one that I was going to create the stand to go round the education board, and I wanted it to look really simple but really, really effective. So I went for the idea of just using 4 small posts and kind of enclosing that education board. In a second I will recolor them so that it doesn't look that bright green colour, and I just think it looked really effective in the end. Now, I do plan on using this sort of idea throughout the whole of the zoo, of using a education board and some sort of a light with a donation bucket. Now obviously we're in sandbox mode, so we don't necessarily need the donation buckets, but I think it is a good part of the game. So I will probably continue to do that throughout the whole of the zoo. Plus I'm just very used to doing that. And at the end here, I'm just placing some education boards in and some educational speakers. And thank you so much for being here, you guys. It really does mean a lot. If you could give a like and subscribe, that would be amazing. And I will see you guys very soon with the next episode. Thank you guys. Bye.